Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dreamleapers Inspiration. I'm your host, Harriette Cole. So very happy to be with you today. Hope you're doing really well, that you had a wonderful weekend, and that you're feeling refreshed as you begin this day and this week. Think about that. What does it mean to feel refreshed? Especially if you've been busy. And I'm going to say I've been very busy. I've been traveling just about every week since Labor Day, which is a whole lot of time, including this past weekend. But boy, was the travel worth it for me. I went to Howard University's homecoming. That's my alma mater. I have not been to Howard University's homecoming in at least a decade. And, years ago when I went right after I graduated from Howard, I went every year, which a lot of us did. And then, life got in the way. Many things occurred where I was just really busy. And so I didn't attend, although I have many friends who did and who have over all these years. Well, of course, COVID shut things down for 2 years. And then people were urgently wanting to be back and to reconnect. And I was one who joined the celebration, in particular because I belong to Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and I pledged at Howard at Alpha Chapter, and we were celebrating our 40th anniversary last year, but COVID got in the way, so we could not gather. So we had a delayed celebration, our 40th celebration on year 41, and I went for that. That is what has inspired me for today's Dreamleapers inspiration, the power of sisterhood. I've just been immersed in sisterhood for the past weekend for 3 precious days and wanted to share some of that inspiration with you. First, I want to take you into a scene of just what it was like to be together. There were hundreds and hundreds of people outside at Howard on what we call the yard, which is the area that connects the land, that connects the university, the different buildings to each other. And there are many people milling about, greeting each other. There's music, there's food. On Saturday, there's a football game, which we happen to win. And then right after the game, what typically occurs is that my sorority, Deltas, form a giant circle with however many people are there. And often we're interlocking hands and arms and singing songs that we've passed down from year to year for many, many years. And it's a delightful experience. It is visually astounding because there were several hundred Deltas gathered, many in our colors of red and white, many what we call lines. Each year there's a group of women who join together, many people dressed alike based upon their line. The demonstration of sisterhood, of love in sisterhood, was palpable. And so incredibly beautiful with the sea of red and white, and even more the sea of smiles, that anybody observing had to feel good inside. It was something, even if you're not part of the organization, you can see the love. You can feel the love. Even if you don't know each other, you still feel this energy of enthusiasm, exuberance, support, and sisterhood. And so I wanted to talk about that. What what does it mean to be in sisterhood with each other? I'll share some of the things that I felt over the course of this weekend. I am the middle of three girls, so literally I am from a family of sisters. And then just that notion of forming sisterhood with women who are like minded, who share values, and who support each other. These are things that we don't always talk about, we don't often think about. And for any men listening, it's true for men too. The covenant of brotherhood is very important, but today we're focused on sisterhood. So, for this group of women who I mainly have seen on social media over decades, a few I've been close to for a long time, but there were 53 people on my line. And so it's many have stayed close to everyone or most people. In my case, I've stayed close to a few, but connected in one way or another to the group. To be in each other's company, to be able to share a hug, to share that twinkle in your eye, to listen to stories of how people are living and how their children are doing, and what's happening in their world. It was precious. It was so special. And it was a reminder to me of the wonder of sisterhood, the power of sisterhood, which is why that's what I titled today's inspiration. We marveled at the fact that even if we hadn't seen each other in 10 years, 20 years, it was almost like we just opened the door, came right in, and reconnected in a blink. Do you have friends like that? Do you have sister friends like that? Who, even if you haven't talked to them in a long, long time, you just pick up where you left off? Or even if it's the moment for filling in all the details that may have passed in time, but you fill it in with ease. That the love connection is so palpable that time is really not a factor. We may look a little different. Our lives may be enhanced in one way or another, but the spirit of who we are remains the same. And that's where the connection comes. The power of sisterhood, of connecting and choosing to connect to each other, choosing to support each other, even as we are all different from each other. And when it's chosen sisterhood, how powerful is that? There are those of us like myself. I have two sisters, and we're from a small, tight knit family. And the love flows between us and always has. And that's different from the chosen sisterhood. In the case of the festivities this weekend, the covenant of our sorority, which not only is us connecting to each other, but us offering our service to others, which you do for a lifetime. And then for those of you who may not be in a sorority, think about the relationships that you have right now that are precious covenants with other women who are just women who have your back, women who are there for you regardless of whatever may be going on. There's a rock in your life. There's somebody who's going to ask the right questions, someone who's going to be still and able to listen when listening is what is required. There's someone who's going to pray with you when that's what you need the most. Someone who's going to hold your hand when words aren't important, but that hand in hand is so essential. Think for a moment. Everybody, I want us to have a little meditation on this. So if you would, put your feet flat on the floor for me. We're going to do a little mini meditation. Sit up straight and tall. Let your back elongate and still let your shoulders relax. And close your eyes if you will, because this is all about you going inside. And just breathe. Breathe naturally. But maybe a little bit more deeply than usual, because what we know is that people breathe very shallowly often. So take in a deep breath and allow it to move through your body. Take in a few deep breaths. Just allow yourself to be still. Be here now. Be present. And as you're breathing very naturally, I want you to think about, who do you consider to be your sister? Someone who's not in your family, but who's in your heart. Who do you turn to in times of need? Who do you turn to when you just want to laugh? Have a good old belly laugh with somebody that you care about? Who is that person whose face is popping up for you right now as you take those breaths and you settle into this moment? Maybe there's more than one person. Who's the one you laugh with? Who's the one you cry with? Who do you pray with? Is it one person who fills all those needs? Or are there different people for different times? I was talking to my blood sister Stephanie recently, and at a moment when our mother was ill, and thank God she's about to turn 93. She's doing well. But on this particular day, it was a very tough day. And Stephanie has a friend at her church, Bonnie, who's her prayer sister. And Stephanie and I have been on the phone talking about what was happening with our mom. And later she said, I called Bonnie because we needed to have that prayer time. Who do you pray with? My line sister, Marcita, was saying at our gathering this weekend, we recently lost one of our line sisters. She passed away. She was a wonderful woman who was very active in our sorority, in our line activities, and up until her passing, she was active. But she didn't let folks know that she was ill. She did know that we loved her. Marcita said, oh, she missed being able to pray with her, because that's something that we do. Who do you pray with? Who do you call on when you need that sisterly bond and you know you're going to get it? No questions asked. I want you to sit with that question. Who is that person? Who are those people? Notice them. Notice how it feels in your body when you think of them. Just breathe and allow yourself to notice the sisters that you have brought into the fold of your life, your world, who are part of your covenant, who connect you to the greatness inside of you, who celebrate you, who support you, who simply love you. And as you hold their image, their name, their presence in your awareness, ask yourself, how often do you connect to them? Is anyone whose face has come before you someone you haven't connected with in a long time? Anybody you see and go, oh, I need to call her. I want to reach out to her. I want to connect to her right now. Anybody pop up for you like that? Now, if as that person pops up and you have that thought, ooh, I miss her, I need to call her, don't allow yourself to go to the place of feeling bad about it. Let that go. Just allow yourself to notice, yes, this is someone I want to reach out to. Yes, I can do that now. Don't feel guilt, feel the opportunity to reach out. So, everybody, please gently open your eyes. And I'd like to invite you to write down the name or names of people who you hold close in your heart. Who are they? Write it down. I want you to capture who came up for you during those just couple of minutes. Whose face did you see? Write it down. Write her name down. If there's more than one person, write all the names down. Who did you see? And is the ones who you talk to regularly, you can put a little heart by their names. And the ones that you don't talk to as regularly, you can put a heart next to them too. That'll remind you to put them on your list to reach out. And then, just like I say to you all the time, every day, carve out some time to do the thing that you value. And so in this case, it's to reach out to someone that you love, someone who's part of that covenant of sisterhood. Spend a few minutes every day reaching out. It can be an email, a text, a call. But don't let the day go by. Don't let this day go by without reaching out to at least one person on your list. No guilt, just love. I'm reaching out because I miss you. I'm reaching out because I love you. I'm reaching out because I just thought of you right now and wanted you to know that you're in my heart. No guilt, just love. It's such a powerful thing. I want to read you a quote. You know I love the quotes. Here's a quote from Serena Williams. It's titled Every Woman. The success of every woman should be the inspiration to another. We should raise each other up. Make sure you're very courageous. Be strong. Be extremely kind. And above all, be humble. Think about that. That's some good stuff in that quote. The success of every woman should be the inspiration to another. We should raise each other up. Make sure you're very courageous. Be strong. Be extremely kind. And above all, be humble. Okay, I want us to think about that for a minute because, we're talking about the power of sisterhood. The power of sisterhood implies connection, implies support. And what Serena's saying, the success of every woman should be the inspiration to another. So when you are successful, it should not make you competitive. It should inspire you to do your best. Now, energetically, there's a little bit of a difference between competition and inspiration. Competition, I feel that suggests I have to get ahead of you. I have to beat you. And that's not what Serena's saying. And Serena is the greatest athlete of all time, okay? She's not saying compete with someone. She's saying be inspired by that other woman to be your best, to step into your greatness, to leap into your dreams, right? We should raise each other up. Isn't that powerful? The thought of sisters raising each other up. We should raise each other up. So to do that, you have to be courageous. Because when you're not courageous, then you might think you need to be competitive. Oh, I'm not going to help that one over there because if I help her, she might take my spot. See, that type of thinking that doesn't believe in abundance, that doesn't believe that there's enough for everyone, has us scratching tearing each other down. But Serena says, make sure you're very courageous. Be strong. Be extremely kind. Extremely kind. Not just kind, she says, extremely kind. So think about that. Because, and this is my view, and I have seen some women who are so competitive with each other that they do tear each other down. So how do you balance that? If that is something you've been taught, if that's a muscle that you've developed, how do you switch out from that? By practicing extreme kindness. By maybe taking a breath after your first thought and considering what is your second thought that might be kinder, right? You know, one of the things that I do actively and have for a long time, when I'm walking down the street, when I'm noticing other women who I just think look good, look confident, look happy, I will often smile at them, greet them, and say, "Girl, you look fabulous. Have a great day." I choose to celebrate whatever that aura of greatness is that's coming, this exuding from them, and claim it and call it and say it out loud. And usually the woman will smile back and say thank you and just receive the compliment. Sometimes when we're like, "You talking to me?" I've had some women say, haven't had people compliment me. That happens. And so because that happens, I want to rebalance what occurs. I want to make sure that when I see a woman who's standing in her greatness, who's doing her thing, that I'm celebrating her. And similarly, if I see someone in need, that I'm offering that tender smile and love in a way that I think she will be able to receive it. Sometimes there are no words. Sometimes it's a hand to your heart. Whatever it is, I want to make the effort, as Serena Williams says, to be extremely kind. Because when you do that, you're thinking about other people. And in her final thought, above all, be humble. Okay, what happens when you're humble? It means you're not being arrogant. You are not being so attached to yourself and who you are and what you're doing and thinking that don't even you don't even notice what's happening with others. Being humble, and I think we need to spend some time working on humility. At another time, we'll dig deeply into that. Being humble requires a sense of self-awareness and awareness of your surroundings. So it is not all about you. It's about the collective. And I watched this with my line sisters this weekend. Some of them, some of the hardest working women, they were 40 years ago, they are today, just getting the job done, just doing the work, looking out for each other, being mindful that everyone was taken care of, especially the ones who are quieter. Noticing what's needed and taking action to do it. Being quiet when the moment called for quiet. Cheering when the moment called for cheering. Working when the moment called for getting things done. I see the power of sisterhood as it's almost like a superpower. When women come together and support each other and have a collective intention, they can do anything. We've seen it time and again. The challenge sometimes is that we forget our power. We sometimes shrink and don't recognize just how incredible we are and can be not as one, but as many. What I witnessed this weekend, what I experienced this weekend was such an incredible reminder of the power of the collective of sisterhood. Now, those women who are part of my line, part of my sorority, know we share a very, very, very special bond that remains unbroken. And I know, as I mentioned before, as being one of 3 girls in my family, there is a sisterhood. In my community of friends, there's a sisterhood. I want you to look at your life, at your world. Who are those women in your world who are your sisters? Who love you unconditionally? Who support you no matter what? And are you tending to those relationships? I want to give you one more story. My mother, I told you, she's turning 93 this week. She has a friend who has been her friend since I think they were 3 years old. So they've been friends for 90 years. And they have the blessing of being alive and thriving to the best of their ability. She has another friend. They've been friends since the 7th grade and another since the 9th grade. Can you imagine? First of all, just the blessing of having these women for so long. And they've gone through all the twists and turns of life, and they remain connected, and they support each other in different ways. Now at this stage of life, it's a different kind of support. And they have their adult children helping to support as well. Sisterhood can last forever. Chosen sisterhood, fueled by love, by kindness and humility, is one of the greatest bonds that we can experience. And so I challenge you, everyone who's connected on this broadcast right now, please reach out to those sisters who came to you in your meditation. Reach out to them today. Tell them you love them. Make the commitment to see them if you can, whether it is through technology or in person for a big old hug. Don't let this moment pass. The power of sisterhood is something that is almost beyond definition. And yet we feel the definition in our hearts. So from my heart to yours, I encourage you, reach out to your sisters, share your love, be filled inside and out with their love, and move through this day with just that much more energy because you have been fueled by the love and power of sisterhood. Thank you so much for being with me today. Until next time, have a great day and make it count. Namaste.